Welcome everyone to the Big Picture Philippines podcast. And today we are live on a Thursday afternoon because we have our own activities coming up tomorrow. But also, originally we had someone else, but unfortunately she has to back out for an emergency. But don't worry, we have someone here today equally amazing and even more amazing, I should say, because she was able to fit in her schedule in a short notice. And we're just, here in the big picture, we're all about learning and we're all about improving our own businesses. And I think this topic is a really important one, I should say. So let's all welcome her and to introduce our guest. Please, Joseph will be doing that. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Dave. Guys, I'm so excited for our guest today. She was very accommodating. I know it was a short notice when we brought her in, but I'm telling you, like this is a topic that is rarely discussed, especially among business people, because we're all go 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 rah rah rah, but then more than the business is more than way more than just motivation and knowledge. You really have to have a very good back office support. And friends, our guest for today is gonna help us with that. But not only that, we're also gonna hear about her entrepreneurial journey, because she's, as I would say, she usually starts businesses here and there, and we're gonna talk about we're even deciding which particular specific business that we're gonna zoom in. Ladies and gents, she is a good friend of mine, and my wife Joyce, and she is the co-founder of Orcullo Business Consultancy. I actually guested in one of her shows, and it was an amazing. She's an amazing host, and so ladies and gents, help me welcome Nikki Orcullo. Nikki, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm good. Thank you, Jo. You've been very liberal in your introduction. Nahiya naman.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, and I know what you do, but and then we're gonna talk more about that. But can you this is always, this show is always about entrepreneur journey
Right.
first, and then service second. Can you walk us through, have you always been a business person? I mean, business minded, growing up. What were the things that motivated you?
Okay. My entrepreneurial journey. Um, I would say na like in my experience, I wasn't born an entrepreneur. I was kind of eased into it. I kind of eased into it because I used to hate doing sales and doing sales talk. I used to be really shy, believe it or not.
Now you
Maybe
love it.
now I don't think I can live without it. Parang I breathe in entrepreneurship and sales and marketing. So parang for me it's kind of an acquired taste. And it also is a good match because it complements what I do, my profession. So it makes me understand it lets me understand my clients even better, what they do, no? So kana siya. Um I started doing side hustles during college. I think Joyce knows this, no? Pero it's the ano lang, kanang the usual college kid businesses like maligya og load, ana, no? So I kind of like the freedom of earning my own money at that time. So whenever the opportunity arises and if makaya na ko ang the capital to start it, and if I can see that there is potential along the road, then why not? Mm-mm.
Right. So, like, can you walk us through in terms of like when you started your first business, and what was it? Did you still remember?
My first business, like registered business.
Anything that's a good
Yeah,
question.
include the monkey business. Just kidding.
Correct.
That's a good question.
Okay.
That's a good question. Like the first time you earn your first peso. That's
Right.
by
Oo.
selling or whatever.
Right. Oo. So going back to college, no. Kasi I mentioned that I used to be in the parang e-loading na business because um N years ago, no, it was really hard to get someone to load your phones, and then we were living on prepaid load by then, no. So I've always seen myself as more of a problem solver than a reclamador. So I saw an opportunity na there is really it's really hard to go out of class and then have your cell phone loaded and then come back into class, no. So I can still remember, it was my aunt who loaned me my first puhunan. That was 200 pesos. I cannot forget, no.
Mm.
That was 200 pesos. So I bought a retailer SIM, I had it loaded. And like the next thing I knew, I was already the suki, no, of our class. So at that time, parang I like the feeling. It was exhilarating, no, na people will be looking for you, no, like you're being known as the load girl, ganyan. So, oh, like,
What year
asahan
was
ko load,
this?
asa si Nicole, kaya I need, I need load, ganyan. Oo. And then I get also to buy what I want without asking for more allowance
Mm.
from my parents, no, from my aunt and uncle. So, it's something na until now I think na na-imbibe na nako, um even after a couple of years after on a bigger scale. So that was it for me, no. That was how I started as far as I could remember. And I also remember, Joe, I'm not sure if you do, pero we had a thing. It was also load, pero it was on a bigger scale. Katong with the cards, bitaw.
Oh yeah,
I remember you were
I
the
forgot.
ones.
I forgot about that,
Were
but
you
yeah.
classmates before? Just kidding.
No, we are not classmates. Si
No.
boys. Yeah. Pero basically para I met Zo in the middle of my entrepreneurial journey also. So it was him and Joyce who kanang introduced me to it was like a loading system as well, if I'm not mistaken. Na medyo mahal-mahal siya a bit, no,
Mm.
for a fresh grad to will. And in fairness sa Jo, I still have it until now.
Oh, you
So
didn't.
yeah, I do. Yeah. Oo. So that was it for me.
All right. Like, let's talk about the first registered business that you
Oh,
started.
you know what? Before that, Joe, real quick,
Go ahead, man.
I just wanna point this out because I think and I'm gonna ask you, Joe, as well. What's your first ever, parang entrepreneurial venture, right? Like,
Mm.
I could recall, Nicole. I was also when I was in high school. That was, I think, my
Mm.
first one, where people, I was a working hard student, diba? I like top three, top ganyan, and we have this thesis to graduate high school, and a lot of my classmates were, they're not confident with their skills, so that was actually
Don't
my
tell
first.
me.
So
you did you
I
did
did like
someone else's
five.
homework?
I did five like projects for other people, and I think I asked, like, at that time, it
Wow.
was a long time ago, no, but it was like 500 or 700 each, and
Wow.
Not
I
bad.
just copied. I just did my thing, like, kind of like really did it in overnight, and wow, I earned that much money.
Wow.
I could remember I bought a couple of books because I was into books at that time. Like, I was the first time I read into books. I bought
Mhm.
like the Vampire Chronicles,
And
Yeah,
rice.
and
and
rice.
rice, and
Uh,
I treated myself McDonald's, and that was like amazing because I think these things actually, and a lot of our guests actually also have this experience early on, and in my college as well, I sell like the pulburon in my
right,
for
right. Oh,
Dota, right? How about you, Joe? What's your first
oo.
experience?
Yeah, yeah. I started early on. I sold Yema when I was in elementary. I think I was grade 4. I started doing that. Even maybe prior to that, our family are always, have always been entrepreneurial. My sister will always cook here and there, and I would always help them push the product. Um, pusher. So I was a pusher early
We're
on. The other thing I did was my family had a poultry business, and so I helped with that. Not selling, but growing the chicks and cleaning. So
Uh,
by the way, guys, like if you're watching this in live or replay, comment below what's your first ever side hustle. Okay, so that would be fun.
no
And
matter how old you are at that
no matter how old you are. And on college, I did not do a thing. I was because I did a lot of side things when I was growing up. I felt like I always feel like I'm different from other people,
Mm,
and I thought that that was it that made me. You really want to fit in, right?
mm.
At least to me, I wanted to fit in back in college, and so I put that on the side. I was focusing on uh,
Studies.
the studies. Otherwise, I will fail college. So I put it on the side, and then then I went back after. I went back
A long
after
time.
it was like 4 years hiatus of not doing any side thing, and then went back. So but that's really interesting, Nikki, right? Because and Dave, that we're able to share that, because a lot of times, Dave, right, when we bring in people as guests, they usually have these stories of like, yeah, when I was still in school, I was doing this on the side.
Yeah.
And people will always we always go back to those times and think like, yeah, I it's interesting that I was doing that back then, because not like in my classmate for my with my classmate, I can't remember. There's a lot of people. There's probably one or two people that usually does that.
Mm.
And if you look back, I don't know if you can do a quick check, mental quick check. They're
Who those
probably doing
people?
business now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And those
more.
those
There's more.
dropouts, those dropouts or those who did networking before,
Yeah,
they're probably well off now. In a way, not all
right.
of them, of course, but I do know a couple of those. Those rebels. And there's a book called I haven't read this, but there's a book called Why C Stu or was that C by Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah,
Yeah,
C
I know what
students
you're talking
work
about.
for A students work
A
for
student,
C students. So
right?
I think that's somehow related to that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, we all go back to this place wherein like we started building the skill, and you're right, Nikki. So you obviously started building the skill, and like from what you're saying, guys, like you actually enjoyed the process of getting the money, and yeah, like
Yeah.
spending it a little bit. So that was really fun. Um, so let's talk about that. Thank you for stopping me there, Dave. I was about to jump into the next big thing. But that was fun. That was a really good discussion. And so, Nikki, let's talk about your like the first business out of college. Do you still remember that, or were you did you establish or call you right away?
Right after college, so I took a board, and then by that time, kasi like after the side hustle in college and the one that we had with Joyce, no, my mindset was more the employee path, no. So um graduate from college, take the boards, have to pass the boards, and then employee. So I was an employee for more or less mga around 5 to 6 years before we decided to open. Actually, the consultancy is our first like legal legit
Right.
uh, business, no.
mm,
So uh, also it was born out of necessity also, no? And because we wanted to solve a problem at that time. Oo. Kasi and this is I have a story regarding this, and it's quite long if it's
yeah. Go
okay.
ahead.
It's okay.
So this is not uh this is not really something new for people who really know me, no, because um a few years after college and after passing the boards and working, parang if you're in your 20s, you're in that stage in your life na you're still exploring what works for you and what's not, no. So probably this you're still looking for that something na the ikigai that you are going to
Mm,
be doing towards your 30s and 40s until you retire. So I was in that stage, and then I more or less realize na parang the super super accounting is probably not my thing, no? So that was around when I was around
What do
20.
you mean super accounting?
Like super
Like
super
we
accounting,
don't.
like
It's like Super Saiyan or something.
like like the taxes, the
Mm.
preparation of FS, no?
Right.
Kasi one of the best jobs I had during my early 20s was being a consultant in a tech firm. So that was when, how old was I? I was around 23 to 25 something. So I like looking at systems. So it was a love for systems and solving problems and blueprinting that had me hooked on that kind of job. So I left the world of accounting. I left the world of being an accountant in the most literal sense, no, during that moment. So I wasn't able to prepare returns, no, returns and the usual accounting stuff for quite some time. And then at that time also, we were about to get married with my then fiance, no. So he also, by the way, is a CPA. That's why I just co-founded, because he is the other co-founder. So after that, parang a year after we got married, we hit a parang our first trial in our marriage, no? Kasi my husband had a health problem that uh, had in which he had to stop working, and then the time in which he had to recuperate was more than what we anticipated time, no, for him to heal. So he had to resign from his job. And then after that, when he tried applying to other companies, when they see the gap in his resume as to why he was not employed at that time,
Mm.
and then of course honesty is the only way to go. So we had to tell them why, because he had a health problem and so on and so forth. So most of the time, interviews only gotten to up to the last part, and he would never hear from those companies again. So being a newly married couple, and then at that time, from the tech firm, I shifted to teaching full time here in a university in Cebu. So if you're starting a family, and I think Joe knows this, no, a teacher salary cannot really, sustain, no, a
Right.
family. So we were thinking na what resources do we have now that we can leverage on, and somehow we can make it our bread and butter na. So parang the eureka moment came for both of us. No, it's not actually a eureka moment because we kind of knew all along that that is what we were more or less meant to do, but I think both of us denied it at that time, especially me, because I was really having fun teaching and not be practicing my profession. But come to when we tried to do our parang SWOT analysis of some sort, no?
Mm.
Na if because we didn't have that much, we were newly married, and then we still had hospital debts to pay off. So we don't want to borrow at that, and then we were living on our own. So we thought na why won't we try our hand in public practice, no? Kasi I my first job was in an auditing firm, so I had experience on that.
Right.
Same with my husband. His first job experience was in a company and then a consultancy firm. So both of us had that in common. So we were in our parang late 20s na rin. So we said that it's worth a shot. Sa bagay, nothing, I can apply, you can apply again, and
Mm.
then at least we have something to put in our resume than rather be slack for a period of time.
Right.
So, even before, while I was teaching, while he was still in a company, there were people who were asking us if we do returns, if we do taxes, if we can help them in their businesses. And the one thing that was keeping us from saying yes was that we both had jobs, so we had to
Mm.
focus on
Mm.
that one. And also the nice thing about being a teacher in a university is that your time is a bit flexible. So when we decided, Ryan, my husband and I, when we decided to go into public practice, we started with one, two clients. We learned the ropes until ultimately my husband said that parang this is what I want to do. Oo. So never mind applying anymore. No, because uh I don't want to and we don't want to end at the final or second interview and then not hear from them after we tell them what happened, you know. So parang it was our parang moment na this is our now we're going to do this and we're going to learn as we go along and we're going to make a living out of it. So of course, being the not risk taker that he is, and I am actually the risk taker between both of us. So we had to compromise. One of us had to, kasi he was unemployed and I was teaching. I didn't leave right away kasi I wanted to have well a safety net just in
Yeah,
case it
that's a good
didn't
move.
didn't work out. So like what I usually tell our clients or our friends who ask us na if it's a good when when is it a good time to open a business, most especially if you are employed. So what we did it was that and I tell them this also because this is how we did it. Now if you're employed, wait until your side hustle income will more or less equate or
Yeah.
be greater no than your full-time job before you jump off the boat, no. So that was what we did. So when we saw that clients were coming in and that more of our time had to be in learning how to build up a tax practice, a consultancy practice. So that's when I decided last 2017 actually to really jump off the boat, no, and go into this full time with him also. And so far, it has been the best decision we ever made
I
as
love
a
that.
couple. Yeah.
I love that. And I think there's so many things that we are, if you've listened, guys, if you've listened to the past few minutes, right? So many things that you have to take note of there. The ikigai, the SWOT analysis, right?
Oh
And
my goodness.
partnering with your husband, di ba? And also, one important thing that you mentioned, and I really love, is that if you check all those, if you've listened to some of those gurus, mga coaches out there, they always say, leave your job, burn the bridge, go.
Right.
But the
Right.
truth is,
Uh,
not all of us are that crazy or risk takers, right?
yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember,
And it
it's
doesn't take away from you being an entrepreneur, right? Because like
exactly.
sometimes it's like, oh, that's gonna be the trademark of an entrepreneur, where you burn the bridge before you even start something. To me, and I think it boils down to you're definitely a risk taker, Nikki, but I also, because of your practice, you've learned to be conservative also. You know, like,
Right.
because so I'm married to a CPA, okay, so I understand
You are.
how
You
how um how you guys think in terms
Mm,
of like, oh, what type of risk are we gonna expose
right.
ourselves to, and that really shows in terms of how true you are to your principles, and I really like that. I agree with that, absolutely. So sometimes mga Dave and Nikki, when entrepreneurs don't leave their job right away, they feel like, oh, maybe I'm not really, that entrepreneurial because I did not really leave. The drama of like, oh, I
Right.
really started from scratch, from nothing. I left my job and da da da
yeah.
da. I mean the truth of the matter is not everyone will have that story. You will
Mm,
have a
True.
different story because you will
True.
inspire a different group of people, and so that's okay. And I
exactly.
really like that
Yeah.
story.
And just to add to that, right? Because we're into this topic earlier, we actually talked about it a bit also, and also for my case, that also no, when I first started with this having more clients, I was wondering, do I have a business or I'm still a freelancer, di ba? There's this
Right.
always question that when do I really
Yeah.
call myself an entrepreneur? Because I don't feel like one. I don't earn like I don't see the earnings like I don't have the
Come on, Dave.
Lamborghinis or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes we have different definitions of what entrepreneur is and what is not an entrepreneur. But aside beside the point, I just want to really point out here what my question is like what is we've mentioned earlier started officially a business or legal business, and since
Right.
you're an accountant, right, this is a perfect topic because a lot of us and a lot of our listeners probably are watching here or are selling online, doesn't
Mm.
have their permits yet, their
Right.
DTI registered and all that stuff. So let's talk about how do you call yourself an official business or a legal business? What are those steps? How do you how do you finally decide to do that? When do you do that? Diba?
When
So
do you do that? All
yeah,
right.
so
Oh,
go ahead,
so,
Nikki.
uh, well, it's a tricky question because when you do that, technically, if we go by the book, once you decided that you want to sell something or offer your services, you really have to get registered right away.
Mm,
No? So, uh, uh, once you decide to get registered, so you have to think if you would want to be a sole proprietor, you want to put up a corporation, or do you want to be part of a partnership? No? So, there are, well, this is where the forms and the paperwork will start. I think both of you are very familiar with that.
no, no, not
So,
really. I mean, I haven't started a corpo yet. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
so, kasi most people uh, construe starting a business na dapat corporation talaga, no? But in fact, we have different business structures here in the Philippines that could cater according to your risk appetite also.
Mm,
So we have sole proprietorship in which ikaw lang mag-isa. You're the only one who is in control of your business. So you have all the risk. So if you decide to form a partnership with another person or a group of persons, so the risk is
shared.
yeah, it's being spread out, no, among the rest of the partners. And if you do decide to put up a corporation, like for example, if you need additional capital from outside investors, no,
Mm,
and if you think your business is really suited for the corporation structure, then um, you you head over. I know you used to we used to head over to SEC for that, but now everything is done online.
oh
No,
wow.
so once you have to decide first on your name, business name, very important.
Which is
Has
in
to
DTI,
be
right? Uh,
yes.
okay.
For sole proprietorships, you head over to the BNRS website. That's Business Name Registration System.
Uh,
You could also visit that via the DTI website. So decide on a business name and pay the necessary fees. And if there's one good thing out of this lockdown that has happened, it's the push that all the offices and agencies for this are doing na uh, almost everything is already online. So you don't need to go and queue for the longest time, no, to do that. So if you want to open up a sole proprietorship, you can do so in around like 5 minutes or less, and you already have a certificate. You
mm,
already
Mm.
have your name. But that's just step one. No? So after that, you head then this time you really have to head over to the city hall or the municipal hall if you live in a town,
Yeah.
and to the BIR. So you have to register your business so that you would know what taxes you are liable for.
And you
So
have
once
like what, 60
that,
days or something, 90 days
you have
to
30 days. You have a
30 days.
30
month.
days.
30,
And you will
30 days.
Yeah.
be careful with
Okay.
that, by the way. If you don't file that, you'll have a penalty, diba?
Yes, you will. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you have 30 days. So that's what we term in our office na end to end the complete business registration cycle, no, from DTI or SEC if you are going to open a partnership or a corporation. to City Hall and BIR because you can already do that simultaneously, no? BIR and City Hall.
Mm.
Mhm. So once you get the certificate from that and you already have your coveted COR from BIR and City Hall, then you're good to go. And wait, by the way,
Receipts.
yeah, one thing I've almost forgot, you have to have your receipts or your invoices printed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you have that, so you're the real thing. You're legit. Yeah.
I love
For
that. Go
yeah, for,
ahead.
like let me just build upon the question of Dave, Nikki. For
Right.
people who are selling online now, like
Mm-hmm.
what's the did they go to DTI right away, or what's the like what are
Mm.
the
Okay. So they have
things you can
a
do? Yeah.
few. Actually, they have options. If you are an online seller, you go through the normal course, the one I just mentioned earlier. Usually, online sellers are your home bakers,
Mm.
your sellers of RTW, essential oils, yung mga ganyan, no? So, most of them are probably suited for a sole proprietorship business structure. So
Mm.
it's less hassle on their end. So if they want to register an actual entity, no, an actual business, and they want to name their business aside from like Dave Visayas RTW, no,
Yeah.
if you want to have that, then you head over to the DTI website, have yourself registered, and then they do BIR and City Hall as well. But if you, for example, if you're a freelancer and you do services online to clients here in the Philippines and maybe abroad, and you would need to have receipts, then you can opt to register as a professional. So no need for DTI anymore.
Yeah, because it's
You
not.
just need to, yes, you just need to be registered in BIR and get a professional or occupational tax receipt.
Yeah,
So that's for
interesting.
online sellers, no, and service providers.
Yeah, and a follow-up question to this because I talked
Okay.
to a couple of legal advisors then no, and
Okay.
they always say that never go for single because if you have a
Oh,
loan you will
right.
they everyone all of your properties under your name will be
Yes,
you
exposed to
can
the
be
risk.
Yes.
collected, diba? But so go
Right.
for corpo instead. So what are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts for that, and what are your for those who are starting out, like maybe my question to really make it to sum it up is, what do you think is a best advice for those who are, or what's your best advice to those who are starting out a business? And yeah, go ahead.
All
Go ahead,
right.
Nikki.
For those who are starting out, no, so these are really kanang mga neophytes, fledgling entrepreneurs. If you just want to start and make yourself legitimate to your market, no, ano lang, you have to, parang, sorry, my dog is really very,
That's
uh,
fine.
uh, and someone is
Bring him in.
out, yeah, for a while.
Sige, go ahead.
It's fine.
All right. So yeah. So for those of you who are watching now, I mean, if you have any questions, by the way, to Nikki, because we have an expert here regarding accounting, registration, and all that, CPA stuff, right? So go ahead and let us know. And if in fact if you're watching this on replay, just send your message via comment or message us. We're totally open to that. Yeah, and
Just a comment, Dave, no,
yeah, go ahead.
on registration, because I've done this myself, like the process, but the whole 9 yards, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things I've seen is that this process is very. I mean, the initial registration is fine, but then when you go to the city hall already and the BIR,
Yeah.
it's like it feels like it's taking forever,
Yeah,
and
well, yeah.
so I'm actually just not to complain, but just wondering, like, if there's a way for to
For
facilitate that.
Filipinos, right?
I'm sure, yeah, but I'm sure like Nikki has. I know Nikki business Orcullo Business Consultancy has that service. But I'm just like really wondering because I've in other countries they've I have a friend. He said like in 30 minutes he's able to set up his corporation.
Yeah,
So
that's
30 minutes, right? That's the whole 9 years already. So that's versus for us, it's probably like what 30 days, maybe 60 days, maybe
mm.
even
And
90
a
days.
couple
So
of back and forth because some
yeah,
officials
and
are
all of
not
the hassle,
there.
and it's not practical. Also,
Yeah,
right now, especially with COVID, right?
especially right
That you have
now.
to
Yeah,
line up and things like that. So
yeah.
I'm wondering like,
I've done
uh,
that too, Joe. Also with
you
the
did
registration, and it's I rather want to do it once and not anymore again.
exactly. I've done
It's
that
really a
twice. I done that
traumatic.
twice.
Yeah,
After that, I don't want to do it again.
yeah. The lining
um,
up, the
hi
waiting.
Nikki,
Yeah.
you're back. So
Yes,
yeah,
I'm so
we
sorry.
were just
This
talking
is the
about
peril of working from home. No? The perils of working from home is that you're easily distracted, and people know that you are home because you're not supposed to go
right.
anywhere.
I lock my door and I make sure that I tell my kids. But that's what we're talking on the side, Nikki, of the
Right.
amount of time that it will take you to register your own business, right? I mean,
Mm,
versus like from what I know from other countries, it would take them a good 30 minutes to an hour to do the
right.
whole
Right.
registration. And I'm not even talking just like the initial registration, but really the whole thing. Like you really
Mm,
have a sealed thing. But for
mm,
us, it's
mm,
it takes a long time. I don't know how it is if it has changed with COVID. If we became more efficient with that. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Oo. Well, I would before I answer that, I would like to go back to the earlier
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
question.
you
yeah.
were
Go ahead,
talking
go
Before we
ahead.
about
were
Yeah.
something, but yeah, please
we were
continue with that,
rudely
and then
interrupted, right? So um to Dave's question whether it's good to go full on corpo or sole proprietorship, no? So if you are still starting your hand out in business and you just want to like test the waters, and as long as you're sure that this is something you would want to do in the long run, I would suggest to start no on opening a sole proprietorship, no,
Mm.
because it's actually, and this is in line with what you're currently discussing, it is actually the fastest, no, uh, type of business to open. But then, like what Dave said, per ano, per his legal advisors, is that the risk is borne solely by the proprietor. No? So because your name is the only one on the certificate and no one else's.
Mm.
So in case the business fails and then the business needs to pay debts, not to suppliers, no, or
Yeah.
to your landlord, landlady. So even your personal assets can or will be no used for you to be free of those debts, no?
Yeah.
So on the corporation naman side is because the corporation is an entity separate from those forming it. So to form a corporation, notwithstanding the most recent OPC, no one person corporation, let's talk about a normal traditional corporation. You have to have five people who, uh, who incorporate. So once you make a corporation, the corporation is deemed as the sixth person. No?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think in legal jargon, they have what they, kasi I'm not a lawyer nor am I a law student. So they have what they term as par natural person and juridical person. So the sixth person, the corporation itself is the sixth person. It's a juridical
Yeah.
entity. So it can be sued and sue. So just in case the business fails and then it has debt, so only assets under the corporation can be used no to liquidate it. So you as an incorporator, your personal assets are relatively safe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I understand also that most of the businessmen would want to go into a corporation right away.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And for real quick, so these are the main parang variation of these, like the Sol, partnership, and
Partnership.
corporate. What else? Do we have other?
Um, we have fourth, a cooperative.
Ah,
So
okay. It's
you're
different.
part of a community, and then because a cooperative is usually like parang a group of people have something in common,
Yeah.
no, like a teachers cooperative and employees cooperative, no. So that is the fourth.
But it's not a
Not
business, right?
necessarily.
Like
Yes, not
really.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Oo.
And for partnership, how
So
many
if you want to
partners?
earn from something,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes. Sorry.
There's
no,
a
I was
lag.
gonna ask like
Yeah.
because that corporation cooperative is something like I haven't had any idea. So for cooperative, it's if you want to earn for something, it's not advisable to
A
create
cooperative. No,
cooperative.
it is. It is. A cooperative exists for the benefit of its members. No,
Hmm.
so if you are familiar with how cooperatives are, diba? Like there are credit cooperatives for one. Now
Yeah,
these are the more
lending.
popular types of cooperatives. So they lend to their members. They build them interest, but part of the interest is given back to the member.
To the
Yeah, so
members. Yeah,
I mean the assets and the revenue, the profit is being just distributed around these group of people. No? So it's kind of inclusive to the members only of the cooperative. So it's a different structure all in all, no? So unlike the first the three, sole
it,
proprietorship, partner, and corporation, which basically works the same way. It's just that it's it differs on the number of people involved,
Yeah.
no, and the capital.
is the tax structure different
Yes,
with
yes.
cooperative?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Since because the main objective of the cooperative is to redistribute wealth, no, to
Hmm.
their
Right.
members, and it's parang in essence for me, you might uh ano for me, a cooperative exists for the benefit of the members, so it's kind of like an NGO but not, no,
Right.
if you get what I mean. So cooperatives are not taxed the same way corporations
Right.
are, partnerships are, no? So they don't pay income tax, but they are not exempt from the rest of the taxes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And before we move on to this topic, do you have any other top follow up for this thing, Joe? Not really. Or
I have a question on problems that you're seeing, Nikki,
Mm.
when the proper protocols and the proper requirements are not set up right on at the very beginning.
Right. Okay. So
Do you want would like to answer that?
yeah.
there is the what? Pardon?
So the question is like, what are the problems that you're seeing in in the
Right.
field
Okay.
when the proper documentations, government requirements are not set up not just in the very beginning, also the reports, right? Because right after you have every quarter report on your
Quarter,
finance.
monthly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is how actually one of the main channels in which we get clients, because since we are a consultancy company and not really a bookkeeping firm, so most clients that come to us, most businesses come to us when they're already in hot water. So we hear horror stories. Now we gotten a love letter from the BIR or SEC and all, no? So it keeps them up at night, ganyan. So um
What's the
this
worst thing that can happen? Your business gets closed, or you're gonna get
yes,
penalized
yes,
a huge sum?
penalize a huge sum, get closed, both could happen.
Okay.
Oh, if you're a sole proprietor, your personal assets would
Mm.
be uh yeah, like what Dave said, that might be also included, no?
Right.
So
And you can't
and
open another business if yeah, right, if you have
yes,
things. So
because yes, especially for those na who are trying to close a business, especially this time, no, pandemic. So when the lockdown started, most businesses, especially in the like parang travel industry, the tourism industry, and those who had mga health and wellness na mga massage, mga
mm,
salon, no,
Right.
that were really really hit, no,
affected,
In the
yeah.
by
forefront of
right. Oo.
right of the
Oo.
effect of this
So,
pandemic. Yeah.
yes. So, to cut losses, some of them decided to close their businesses only to find out na they had open cases, meaning there were taxes that weren't filed,
Mm.
remittances
Wow.
that weren't remitted or paid, no, and then
And you have to
um,
settle that prior
yeah,
to
they have to.
the
Otherwise,
closure is much harder also, right?
yes, and much more expensive.
Mm.
That is
If there are
also one
penalties, yeah.
thing. Yeah, that is also one thing that you would have to consider if you start a business, di ba? Parang before you drive, you should know how to park. That's what they say, no?
I love
So,
that analogy. Yeah.
yeah, di ba? So, when you want to start a business and you would want to think, am I doing this long term or just for the lockdown or just for the summer? Kasi once you start something and then you tend to be remiss of your obligations as not as an entrepreneur but as a business owner, it will come back to haunt you, no?
Okay.
In multiples of tens and hundreds
Yeah,
of
it's
thousands.
really
Right.
crazy.
So, so sometimes the penalties come up when the business owners would decide to close their businesses, and then um, sometimes their bookkeeper goes AWOL all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
Yeah.
So
Or don't
I've
remit.
heard of those. Yeah, I've heard of those
Uh,
a lot of times, Nikki. So just what would be the best practice? Like if for small business owners or even like the big ones, right? What would be a best practice in this area? How do you check that like your the remittances are there?
right.
And then how
Uh,
do you also hire like
and find the right one, yeah.
and find the right group of
Bookkeeper
people,
or
the
accountant,
company
yeah.
who will help you?
all right. Okay. So first is how you could do check and balance now if you hire. So first, if you can wing it out by yourself, then well and good, no? Because even if we are uh, the accountant of your business, we would also want the business owners to be involved.
Mm.
We would want them to know what it is we're doing and why it is important, no, for us to do, because they're essentially paying for our services, no, to not be penalized by the BIR or whatever government agency, no. So for you to check if your taxes are being remitted, you as a business owner could actually go to your RDO, BIR RDO, and check if your business has open cases. No?
Mm.
So only as far as I know, because I'm not the one handling the tax and compliance, it's Ryan, my husband. I do the audit and special engagements. But with regards to that, I believe it's just the owner who can come in, I mean, go in and ask for a list of open cases. We cannot do that in behalf of our clients unless we have a special power of attorney.
Mm.
So you as a business owner, if you would want to check, and this is one of the things also we ask our clients before we take on a new client who has problems in that area. Now we have to see first if we have open cases, meaning returns that have not been filed or paid, no,
Right.
before
Mm.
we take you on, so that we could also assess, we would do damage control, no, before
Exactly, yeah.
risk assessment before we take on a client.
So just to be clear, Nikki, you can just go anytime to BIR RDO,
You
making
can
sure that
ask,
it's
yes,
that's your RDO also, right? Because
yes, you
you
have
can be
to.
registered
What's
somewhere else.
RDO for the
Yeah.
folks that you don't know?
RDO for here in Cebu. RDO stands for Regional District
Office,
Office.
yeah.
Here in Cebu, we have four, I believe. So we have Mandaue and Northern Cebu. So if your business is situated in Mandaue, moving north, moving up to Bantayan, no, your RDO is in Mandaue. I think they transferred in Insular Square,
Mm.
somewhere in North Mandaue. For Cebu City, we have two. The one near Ayala, that's the head regional office, and we have one near CIP, that's Cebu South, no? And the fourth one is in BIR in Talisay.
Talisa,
So
yeah.
if your business is in Talisay moving south until Santander, if I'm not mistaken, you are under their jurisdiction. No?
Yeah,
So
so
if you would want to check, or if you'd want to parang be updated uh with your filing, so you can check, you can ask. uh I think it's in the collections department,
Mm.
or you could ask the officer of the day on how to get a copy of your open cases if you have if you have open cases,
Can't you
because
just
there
call on that, Nick?
right.
Kapulan kayo. Can't you just call the office and ask that or not really?
Yeah,
Kasi nag-call ko siya, nag-live
that
sila eh.
that
Nakita
that
niya.
that would be nice, no, that if you could just call. Pero as of now, as far as I know, is you really have to personally go
All right.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Right. Before, they used to be a little bit relaxed na we can ask for the list in behalf of our clients. But now, I think I think it's in relation to data privacy and all,
Mm.
no? Na you need an SPA if you are an authorized representative, or you have to be the owner and show
Yeah.
an ID, yeah, for you to check if you have open cases.
Yeah.
For the rest naman of the agencies, aside from City Hall, so if you would want to see if your bookkeeper or your company or your accountant are remitting your SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig,
Yeah.
you can check it naman online. So SSS has an app where you can check, no, your contributions. Very important for employees and even businessmen, kasi sayang din ang benefits. And then yeah, that's about it. So
Yeah.
for the rest, you can do it online. It's just for your taxes lang na you have
To go
to
there.
go. Yes, oo.
And do you advise that? Of course, it's advisable, right? For any
Of
one of you.
course, I would. I would,
Yeah.
especially those um who are winging it by themselves. No, if you're a new business owner, which we totally understand because our niche in our consultancy firm are micro and small businesses.
Yeah.
Most of them are bootstrapping,
Mm.
so they have very limited resources to go on. So we tell them na since your business is young, you have to guide your business. Think of your
Yeah.
business as your kid. You can't just put up a business and let it run by itself. No, so
Mm.
the spine is the foundation of your business, and part of that, like what Joe said, are your back office operations, in which accounting and taxes is a part of. Because
Yeah.
aside from, and this is me speaking as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, in as much as it gives us the freedom to own our time and to earn limitless, no, amounts of money, there is also an obligation for us, no, to be compliant in doing our business, because this is the check and balance of the market.
Yeah, and I think we can dig deeper a bit lang with the like what are those things that you usually check, right? But you
Mhm.
know, I have attended this seminar about all this remittance, BIR, and all
Right.
that. Mind you, I did not understand that thing. It
Right.
has to take a little bit of detail oriented. Parang you have to really dig into it deeper.
Mm-mm.
And if you have no idea what you're doing, yeah, I think going back to that second question of Joe, how can you find a reliable, or how can you measure if this person is a good fit for you as an bookkeeper or accountant that would help
Okay.
you? Yeah.
Okay. So for one, I would definitely suggest getting someone who is registered.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Get someone who is registered. So if he or she has the permits, meaning she she walks the talk, or he or she walks the talk, no, he does what they preach. So you cannot trust somebody who says that you have to pay taxes when he or she himself is not, no. So that, I mean, that is our principle. So buyer beware if they would want to have a non-registered accountant for that matter. Kasi basically, I would also, initially I would say na get a CPA, but
Mm.
then I would also want to be realistic, especially for business who
Small.
are
Yeah. Small
starting,
business.
no, that it unless you have the resources to hire one, that's why some of them hire non CPAs. I'm not saying na bookkeepers are really bad at what they do, but there are really some bad apples, believe me. So some of their clients became our clients, and we had to clean up their mess, no. But
Mm.
there are only a handful of non CPAs who are really good in what they do. So one thing also that I would like to advise, no, businessmen and entrepreneurs in getting a reputable bookkeeper or accountant for your firm is, um, I don't know. I think this again. This is me talking as an entrepreneur. You have to have rapport with your accountant. That's why it's important for us before taking on a new client. Pre-COVID, we have to meet like face to face to see if we're a
Mm.
good fit. And then now we do this via like this
Zoom.
Zoom. Oo. Kasi it really is important for us to check na is this person trustworthy, kasi they'll be handling confidential information like my finances. And so another one is especially if you have a particular niche, no, like you have a food business, it would be really good if you could get someone who already has experience
With
handling
that, yeah.
restaurants, no, food
Yeah,
businesses, because there are
there are
certain
special requirements.
accounting principles
Nuances
that
and
are,
yeah,
yes, accounting principles that are peculiar for those type of
I love
businesses,
that too.
Speaking of,
construction.
do you have like a specialty, Nikki? Like your company has specialty?
Oh, um, we we cater to almost every type of business, but looking at our client roster, most of our clients are in the construction and real estate business and
Wow.
professionals. Yeah, so we have doctors, lawyers, insurance agents, real estate agents.
Mm.
By the way, guys, our company is a client of Nikki, so yeah.
Disclaimer,
Just
no?
kidding.
Yeah.
I just
So,
wanna flag that there.
CPA,
So
ano ba?
I hope we're not a headache to you guys, because I know sometimes like I don't reply and what. but
Yeah.
but
And
I
CPA
really
is
like the
very
way I keep on
important.
saying this with all our guests, like David. Every time I have like experience with them, like Nikki and Ryan, the owner of the company, basically are, I would say, relentless in making sure we
Oh, I'm
follow up with
sorry.
the
Are we
we hit the
spamming
deadline, which is really
you?
good
Yeah, and
because
that's important because
yeah,
it's
that's
their
important.
headache.
Yes,
Because
it is.
Dave, the reason why entrepreneurs don't like this, because there's no problem. We don't try to understand. Normally people don't try to understand things that are going on when there's no problem. Like for example, if there's no problem, we don't think about like our faucet or our, if
Yeah,
then there's like our faucet has problem, and then we're gonna think about like,
our
oh,
world shambles.
yeah, that's when we try to figure it out. But then yeah, when things are doing well, we don't really take time. That's exactly why for me someone would do it for me, in this
Yeah,
particular case. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, I trust you guys.
yeah.
Thank you.
And real quick on this, like a really fast way, Nikki, because I know we're running out of
Yeah,
time,
we're,
right?
we're a bit over
But
time, but
yeah, so
it's fine.
if for those who are doing it solo or starting into this, like, can you just list down like what are those parang things that they need to do if they're doing it on as a bootstrap, right? What are these things that
Mhm.
they need to note every month, quarter, and yearly for those who are
Right.
starting a business? So I think
All
this would
right. So,
help a lot.
um, I think I would hop on directly to the taxes part, because
Yeah.
I think that's the crucial one. No. So if you after you have the business registered in BIR, the BIR will give you your certificate, no, of registration, or your COR. It's like a brown paper.
Mm.
So the BIR enumerates there what type of taxes you are going to file and when you are supposed to file it. So basically, the COR is like, okay, a planner. It's like
I
these
love
are
that.
your
Cute.
taxes. These are your taxes. This is when you need to file. So, that's it. You just have to ano,
Follow that.
yeah, you just have to follow that basically. Oo.
But by the
Kasi
way, this, you know what? Seeing that paper, it's really alien to me when I look at it. But yeah,
yeah,
always
oo.
in there, right?
Yeah, so everything is in there because that is basically uh their benchmark, no?
Mm,
If they would be hopefully not auditing you, no, or checking if you're being compliant or not.
yeah. So per each month, there's what we call, and this is for, is this the same for single, partner, or corporate? Is it different each, right? Because I'm
It
aware of
it is
single.
different. There are taxes that you file monthly,
Mm.
there are taxes that you file quarterly and
Annually, of course.
annually.
Yeah. So those are
Yes,
the things, right? There's
yes.
monthly, annual, quarterly, and just real quick, ano what's the deadline for that? Like the filing of the annual income, because that's
All
a big
right.
thing
The
for
filing
all.
of the annual income tax return, regardless of COVID or not, is really April 15. And I
Okay,
think
April
that's
15th.
global, universal, even in
Mm.
other countries. It's still April 15. Oo. Um, with regards to the other taxes, I think before I would have to catch myself. Otherwise, I would go into a really really boring tax discussion, tax lecture. It would depend actually on your operations. If you are, I think you're familiar with the terms VAT registered,
Yeah.
non-VAT
Yes.
registered. So
Yeah.
yes, the frequency of filing of taxes would depend whether you are VAT or non-VAT registered and whether your sales would hit a certain amount within a year. No, so that's not your problem. That's our problem. No,
Mm.
that we would have to assess, and then you will take it from there. Mm-mm.
All right. So yeah, those are really good things. If these are foreign to you, you don't know what VAT is or what or
Yeah.
April 15 is. So guys, I would suggest you talk to someone who is an expert. Like and Nikki shared a few guidelines earlier about that, of course, of finding a right bookkeeper or accountant. So yes, I think that's it for me, Joe. How about you? Do you have any?
Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure, Nikki. There's a lot of I still have a lot of question with respect to um the business outside of business, like the dynamics between you and Ryan. But
Right.
um, that's probably a conversation for another time. But really,
Yeah,
really
we should have
appreciate
her again next time.
yeah. Let's have her again because there's I'm pretty sure you also have, and let's just talk a little bit about it. You also have an online learning platform, right? What is it called
Right.
again?
I also co-founded, no, along with other
Business owners, right?
non-spouse business.
Serial co-founder.
Yes, co-founder, of course.
What?
uh,
Sorry, what was it
an,
called?
an online training company, Linked Solutions.
LinkedIn.
So
Okay.
yes, we started as a bookstore for accounting, business, and tax books. This is a story for another time.
Yes, yes,
So
but
Yes.
yeah, little
yeah,
bit
so
about it.
right. So like every other business, we also suffered the brunt of the pandemic. So we actually had a physical store up until March when the
You have to
lockdown
close.
started. Yes, and then we migrated everything online. So we still sell books, no? So for accounting and business students and professionals. So
So, so you
we just
converted
sell
the
them on our
books
website.
to digital, or the process is
No, no,
digital?
just as of the moment, because there are not much accounting books in digital format yet. So we have physical inventory, no.
Mm.
So we deliver books, no,
I
to
see.
those who yes,
Yeah.
courier.
We'll have you next time for that specific thing. And I'm actually curious about, and this Dave, this is very interesting that I think Nikki can talk about, like how does how can husband and wives operate a single business.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
wondering about that, but then again,
That's
Nikki,
crazy.
we're definitely gonna have you back for that specific topic. um
Yeah.
so
Sure,
thank
no
you so much
problem.
for being here with us, and we're
Thank
not
you
gonna let you go
also.
yet. Oh, doesn't
Okay.
say thank you yet, because we're not letting you go yet, because we're going to our lightning
Lightning
round.
round.
Oh my goodness.
This is
Okay.
a series of the program, of the interview, of the podcast, of the show, where we ask you questions which you can answer in a lightning fast way. Okay, so let's get our ball rolling here.
Yeah.
Dave, you'd like to start?
Yeah. So, Nikki, who or what inspires you?
My husband.
I love it. Co-founder husband Ryan. Shout out.
Right.
Shout out, Ryan. Okay, next question. Nikki, do you have a morning routine? And if yes, what is it? Can you share it to us?
Morning routine. When I wake up, I say my prayers, drink a glass of water and coffee. I never start my day without coffee.
There you go.
There you go. Right.
Dave,
Yeah. So, also, what is your, or do you consider yourself successful, Nikki?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Can you expound a bit
can you
about
expound?
that?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm a work in progress. I
love
always
that.
consider myself a work in progress.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. So we're all work in progress, and with that, Nikki, is there any resources, TV show, songs, books, whatever that can help our listeners, our viewers, grow into the person that they wanted to become?
Okay. So guys, subscribe to the Big Picture podcast.
Yay!
I'm one of their fans ever since they got on Spotify, So
Yay!
yeah, I listened to your podcast, no joke. So my favorite episode was the one you had with Mr. Pajes. So I have it on repeat and downloaded it a lot of times and listened it to a lot of times.
So you're responsible for the 1,000 listens.
That's good.
That's good. Go
Right.
ahead, guys.
So aside from your podcast, you were saying a tool, right? A tool that
Tool, guide.
resources.
Or a book.
Okay,
Yeah.
for note taking, and this is very very indispensable for me. My go-to app is Evernote. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
Yeah, I
that.
am.
Evernote, because it syncs with almost everything, my laptop, iPad, phone, and all. Going back to podcasts, Amy Porterfield's podcast and JLD Entrepreneur on Fire. I like
Yeah, we love those.
their podcasts. I learn a lot from their podcasts. Shows. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I binge on The Prophet by Marcos Lemon. Marcos
Is it like
Lemon.
TV series?
Yeah. The Prophet is a show where it's reality TV in
The
which
Prophet.
The Prophet. I think it's on CBS, so I usually watch it in if you have cable. It's
Yeah.
really nice, especially if you are either an angel investor, you're looking to be an angel investor, or you're a businessman, because you can learn from the episodes, because Marcos is a businessman, mega businessman, who goes to failing businesses and tries to revive it by injecting his own money. And within the episodes, he explains about the 3 P's of business: people, profit, and process. So this is where I get most of my yung parang education and how to more or less run a business, how to be very strategic and intentional as a businessman. And what
That's you.
else?
Thank you.
I think that I used to really like watching used to, because they're not on air anymore, ANC on the money. Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Shop Talk. So those are two of my favorite business
Who's
programs.
the guy? Edric Mendoza was one of our
Edric,
guests in the
yes.
podcast. Yeah.
Yes, I like watching on the money and Shop Talk.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you for that list. That's amazing.
Yeah, especially the big picture one. So just kidding. But
Have our own.
but very seriously, like if you are not aware of what podcast is, if you're watching this on Facebook lang, go check out Spotify or Apple. We are there. Just search podcast or any other podcast. Really, you mean?
Are you guys on Stitcher, by the way?
Yes, we are on
Yes, we are.
Stitcher. Yes.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
So guys, you have to subscribe. They have really
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially when this comes out, give us a thumbs up, like if it will help your business or whatnot, right?
We've been
So-
releasing very fast, like Dave. Like weekly, we've been releasing the podcast.
Yeah,
on
we're
our
catching
podcast
up.
Channels. We're
I want
catching
to have
up, yeah.
that. Yeah, I want to have that rhythm, right? So
yeah.
catch up. But nonetheless, my next question for the lightning round is, we have a lot of IFW listeners. Perhaps I've seen like we have Dubai listeners, and even from the US. Actually, I checked. But yeah, so for those of you them who are outside of the country, or not doing, or maybe they want to go home, they want to start a business, or they're maybe just they don't want to sacrifice enough anymore just to
Mm.
provide to the family, or maybe someone who's here in the Philippines who just lost their job or got stuck in a job that they don't love. And there you are, here you are, founded your ikigai and your eureka moment, right? What is your tip for these people who wants to take the leap and make the next step to business or success in general?
The the best advice I could give to someone who would want to open a business is to find a mentor. Look for
Mm.
someone who has been there or who is already there, and talk to them. Because in as much as entrepreneurship is a great journey to be in, I'm so far liking it despite the downs and the ups. No, I believe entrepreneurship is not for everyone. No, so it's not for the faint-hearted, most definitely.
Yeah.
So I would really advise our OFWs, or if you are someone who is thinking of opening a businesses, find someone who could talk to you about their business. And if you see yourself in his or her shoes, talking the same way that they are about their business, then that's probably for you. And you can start from there. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a good answer. I have to tell you though, like initially, um, I thought like everybody can start up their own business, but then as I'm on it, I realized like yeah, there's so much tools and there's so much things that you need to learn.
Mm.
One of Dave's favorite quote is, what is it, Dave? Business is one of the best
Best course.
personal development tools that you can. That
Yeah.
Starting a business is one of the best personal development tools that you
Yeah,
can
and
you can
Nikki
have.
even
Right,
mentioned
right.
that earlier, about how she was shy before, and now because of business, and it's all
Mm-mm.
about relationship in business. Now
True.
she's very an eloquent speaker, right? Would you agree,
Yes,
everyone?
I
You're
agree,
very
Dave.
kind.
Yes.
Okay, Nikki, this is gonna be the last, and I would say again and again, the most difficult. You probably noticed the most difficult question in the lightning round. Where can people find more about Orcullo Business Consultancy?
All right. Okay. So you can find us on Facebook. We have a page, Orcullo Business Consultancy. That's fb.me/Orcullo Consulting. Or you could visit our website at www.yoursupercpa.com.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Nikki.
Mm-mm. Or
Yeah.
you could
Those
find me on
will,
Facebook. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and those will be
We're
on
tagging
our.
you on
Yeah,
the
we'll
Oh,
Facebook.
tag
thank
you
you.
definitely. I'm also curious about how that would feel, Nikki, because you're listening to our podcast. Hopefully, you are not lying about that, and now you're in your podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you're gonna be listening to yourself soon, and you will find that out in Apple, Spotify, and also our
Thank you,
website,
Dave. Thank you, Joe.
the, the big
Episode number what,
picture.
Dave?
Episode 78 already, or
Episode
we're almost
78.
there.
Oh,
22
oh,
more, and we're gonna be 100. So
oh. Congratulations, guys.
yeah, so that will be the big picture.ph/episode 78 for once this goes out. You can find all the links, and hopefully some of the, if you can send some more details, Nikki, about BIR, like the website you mentioned,
Right.
BNRS was it, and DTI and
Yes.
all those stuff, for those who
Yeah,
wants
I
to
will.
do. Yeah, feel
Sure,
free
no
to send it
problem.
over, and we'll post that. Like, we'll create a mini guide for you, who will be, for those who wants to start a business and wants to
Mm-hmm.
do it online. Sige. All
Right.
right. So, wow, this is a jam-pack interview. I mean, I was expecting, like, we're gonna talk light, but this is definitely, I
This
think
is
this is
not
really.
light, you
This
guys.
is
But this is
This is so much fun, Nikki. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, because like we don't. This is like access to information that we would like to get our hands on. So thank you
our
so much.
people would pay for to Nikki, but I'm so glad that Nikki has shared her time.
Yes,
So
that's true.
so yeah, make it worthwhile, guys.
Thank
If you
you.
are if you think that this podcast episode, especially this episode, will help you in your business, and if you think that oh, I realize that I need to find na pala and become a legit business, and if this
Right.
episode helps you, do share it. Do tag Nikki. Let Nikki know. Connect with her. If you need to more information, connect with her. And if you wanna share more about your business, journey, let us know. Connect with me, Joseph. We're
Right.
all around. Or the Facebook page. Go ahead. And yeah, as mentioned, we are releasing more and more now. Our episodes. Hopefully, we like have this fast turnaround. Like when we have the interview, we'll have it live by next or 2 weeks.
You're gonna
right?
have to ramp up, Dave.
Yeah, we'll have that soon. So we're so exciting times. I'm just all about really making this one of the best resource out there. If you're not into podcasting yet, this
Right.
is do check it out. So I think that's it. Anything from you, Joseph? Any announcement?
All good, all good.
All right.
Yeah. So excited for Nikki, and yeah, we'd like to get her back
Definitely.
definitely get her back. So
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much for watching the Big Picture podcast, and I hope again, please do share this episode to your friends and your enemies. This has been Joe,
This is Dave.
and that's
That's Nikki.
Nikki saying goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.